Greetings, there, people. It's your cult of personality here. ToonKritic's name, Toon's name of my game. Welcome back to Roundtable's Magic, little show. We take a look at My Little Pony. Of course, the name of the game is Pawns, and that's what we do best. Of course, you know me. We got a bunch of people here. We, of course, have Ninja.
Big British horse review episode. It suck.
It's...
Go home. No need.
we have Golden Fox.
What's up?
We have Blissy Boo.
Really?
What?
You jerk!
So
Never speaking to you again!
Bliss and cute. Those are terms she does not want
Ah!
We have Voice of Reason.
Edge pony must check self before wreck self.
Okay,
Oh my God.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, apparently we have Derek in the background, so
Oh yeah, and also a cat.
we have Sega.
Hi.
And our special guest for today's episode, he hails from the good old sort of California. He's been on a few of my streams and whatnot. He also a patron of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome EGStudios.
Hello, everyone. King of Analogies is here.
Yeah, that's
Also-
right. You actually have your own channel too,
got
so.
the freaking chat going Blissy Boo. I want to point that out, you
Oh my
jerk.
God! Everyone is going Blissy Boo. I love it. All right.
Also, for yak language, go yak yourself.
Wow.
Whoa! This is a kids show, buddy. Oh, swear they could use like the new yak is like the new Smurf term or whatever. Anyway, so
Don't
Yes.
talk back at Yak! Yak surprised Yak lived for this long under these conditions!
Indeed.
oh dear. All right, so today's episode is not asking for trouble. This is a
Yes, you are!
I guess what Will said. It's
Well,
not
there's
a,
our interruption.
it's not a
I'm
very
sorry, but with the title, like, not asking for trouble, you're basically asking for trouble!
That's what.
Duh!
That's what the Prince Ruth. You know what? I'm just gonna call him Prince Ruth. His name is hard to memorize.
That's the joke.
Rutherford. I'm just gonna call him Ruth.
Okay.
Hey,
Anyway.
hold on, guys. Guys, time out a sec. I want to make sure Toon is able to talk because he
Yeah.
broke off.
So
Oh, sorry.
this episode is not one that everyone is talking about. We just got off from like a royal problem. So to jump to this episode, it's kind of a step down, and we are now on a hiatus. So I felt like they should have switched the episodes around and have that have a royal problem be the mid-season finale. But it's whatever at this point. So who wants to get started first?
I guess I'll
Positive.
go.
Okay, Bliss, go ahead.
Okay, positive. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually having to think really hard about that.
Wait,
It's-
really?
It's hard for
Yeah.
this episode.
Um, okay, I like Pinkie's willingness to do what was right, even if it meant jeopardizing a friendship. She's dealing with the fact that a leader of another people is so freaking stubborn that he's willing to have them suffer through the winter without food, shelter, protection. And it's like it's always been their way. They never ask for help, and yet you can tell that they are suffering and they're in trouble. And she was willing to jeopardize the friendship just so that they would be okay. That's not only very admirable, it's very brave. I mean, has anyone ever been in that kind of situation where they knew if they did a certain situation, it was for a greater good, but
The greater
you
good.
lose something?
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, you lose something in return if you did it, but you knew it was for the best.
Yeah, I think somewhere. Well, not by experience, but I've seen other media films or shows that covered something like that, but better. Like being delusional, being stubborn, and trying to go through what you have in plan originally, and gotta cooperate if just to alter your the plans that you've always wanted to do. Like a family vacation or some sorts.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I think if I can think of a good example, it's doing something that was good for myself, and even my former friends said that they were happy for me, and then they ended up leaving me over it. Yeah. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but like,
That's okay.
yeah. The thing is, though, is that the choice I made to become something more with my work and my hobby literally became my job. And I lost something as a result to it, though. Or, well, theoretically, if I think back on it, it didn't have to be lost. That was their choice. I couldn't make them stay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had that. So, I'm gonna bring. Who do I
Let's
give
get
it
back
to?
on track.
I give it to. Who wants to go next?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Voice.
All right. This is weird to say this, but the yaks are kind of growing on me.
Really?
Yeah, the yaks were.
Yeah,
The
no,
yaks
I'd
were
remember
freaking funny in this. That just like not just the it's more like figuring out the seeing how bizarre the traditions are. Like they have their own hut for each thing. This is the hut of eating, for where we eat. This is the hut for music, for where we listen to music.
This is the hut of sleeping.
Where we sleep.
Gosh, when you put it like that, the ponies have such an overly complicated society.
Kinda.
Like, the yaks have got that crap sorted, man. They got it efficient.
They do.
They're natives. They make things simpler.
The only thing they have trouble with is landslides. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, I saw my reflection in a snow-covered hill.
I knew.
Till a landslide brought it down. Thanks to Yak
I
Smashing.
knew we were gonna sing that Fleetwood song.
Jeez.
I called it.
That's awesome.
Oh dear. All right, who do you pass it to next?
Well, since she's here, Sega, what was your favorite?
Am I a virtual guest? No, I thought it was supposed to be in the background.
No, it's fine. Go ahead, Sega. You're here.
Ask the cat.
But I couldn't think of anything.
Really?
No, I couldn't. Because you stole
You put her on the
my thing.
spot.
Oh, okay.
She's
Darn it.
completely unprepared.
Tell you what, we'll go back to Sega.
Yeah, we'll come back around. I'll pass it off to EG.
One thing you liked.
Okay, one thing I liked, Gummy. No, I'm just
Wow.
That is a respectable choice.
Nah, just kidding. Okay, I really loved how Pinkie was at her best in this episode. I mean, Pinkie has always been my most favorite of the main six, because she's always that type who just makes me just crack a laugh at every minute of every second of what she does. Except there are times that she used to be too annoying, like some episodes in the past seasons. But in this one, I can see she was still responsible. She was still motivated on helping the yaks. I like how she wanted to learn about cultural
appropriation or something.
Yeah,
No, that's the opposite of what you're thinking.
Okay,
Cultural
No,
appreciation.
Appreciation.
Yeah, cultural appreciations. Like, yeah, such as myself, I've always been a fan of learning about many cultural, historical things in the past. Like I've always wanted to.
Wait a second. Isn't your point about Pinkie Pie?
Yeah, exactly. I like it, and with what I really love, I do relate to Pinkie that she wanted to help out of celebrating traditional celebrations. I've been in moments like that before, and when I went on vacations, dozens, like everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's one thing I really enjoyed in this episode, that Pinkie was very motivated on helping out, on being part of something that that she was bonding with the Yaks. Like after bringing them with Ponyville, now it was their turn to return the favor. Which that's what I like about the Yaks.
Okay.
But once I get to my dislikes, you're gonna see why. So I'm pretty sure everybody has more dislikes.
Who do you pass
Likes
on
on
this
this episode. Yeah,
Me.
I think that's about it for me to say. So I'll pick Fox. You go.
Okay. This one's kind of silly bringing it up, and I was hoping this wasn't being echoed off of one another, but I like the fact that, okay, despite my issue with the Yaks as well as everybody else, I like that we actually get to see what Yakistan looks like and what their culture is, and this is definitely a step up from the cock tease that happened in Dungeons and Discord. In Dungeons and Discord, the main six were going to Yakistan, while Discord is left behind. Like, I want to see what Yakistan looks like. Writers, you said you were going to give us world building.
Well, they did.
So
It just took
we
them a
finally
while.
got. Yeah. They said that season 6 was going to have world building. Bullshit. But this one actually delivered, showing us what the place actually looks like, and it's kind of bouncing off of what EG said. We get to see what their ceremony is and what they do and everything, and it's nice to see that. You know, you get to know a certain culture a bit more. That adds more layers to the world of Equestria. So, who hasn't gone yet?
I have not.
I think either me or Ninja.
All right, Ninja, I pass it to you.
Yeah, Ninja hasn't gone yet.
Alrighty, so I'd like to rebound everything Blissy said, because she's 100% right. You know, what is more valuable to yourself, your friend's friendship or your friend's health? You know, it's that kind of dichotomy of how much do you know them to the point where you know they're wrong and that kind of deal. And as for my own little pro, I really liked the Yak culture. It was really nice to see how they interacted outside of smashing other people's houses. And on that, I just liked the prince in general. You know, he has more personality. He was pretty cool. He felt like he did what he did out of years long of tradition. So, yeah, pretty standard, I suppose. I can't really say I really like this episode. It's kind of neutral for me. It's a meh. 5 out of 10. So I think I'll pass it to Toon.
Okay. So in this season, at least from the 11 or so episodes we've got, on one hand of the spectrum for Pinkie Pie in this season, we have rock solid friendship, where she's all the way over on the left side. She's gone off the deep end, and she's lost all sense of what is right and anything logical. Just gone. On the other side of the spectrum, we have this episode. And I think this is a role that best suits Pinkie, this whole friendship ambassador thing. I think this works very well for her character. I think that she's a great character to use to send her off to different areas so that she can look into problems and whatnot. She has a good sense of what needs to happen to fix a problem when she's having a good day. And I think it's interesting because she can be the perspective that we really need. She tends to think a little bit outside of the box, and that's something that not a lot of the main six are willing to do because they have their own agendas at play. But Pinkie likes to think outside the box, and I think in this situation she knew what to do. She actually got it right. Oh, wait, I'm last, aren't I?
Oh wait, no. Sega has hers.
Oh,
okay. Let's say
you better have your negative as well.
Not exactly something I like, but not something I don't like either. I just have a question. So if Pinkie Pie is now the official friendship ambassador of Yakistan, what about the rest of the main six? Where would they be friendship ambassadors? Like Rainbow Dash could be the friendship ambassador of Griffinstone. I don't know.
Dash would get Griffinstone. Spike would get the dragons. Starlight would get the town.
Rarity, Twilight. AJ would get Las Pegasus.
Las Pegasus, or
But that's still inside.
Appaloosa.
Yeah, I was gonna say Appaloosa.
True.
Rarity would get Manhattan.
I miss Brayburn.
I would think Rarity would get the Crystal Empire.
Fluttershy would just get the forest, like where Zecora.
Fluttershy gets Breezy Land.
Maybe Starlight.
Oh
gets
yeah,
the
Breezy
Changelings.
Land, of course. Starlight would get the Changelings.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see each of the main six. Yeah, I can
This
see
all
each of the
kind of
main
slots
six
in
races.
well.
Anyway, anyway, honey, do you have a negative?
It feels like a retread of a very, very, very early episode, Applebuck season.
Yeah.
Or Moral.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say.
That's
Yeah.
such a- I mean, we can still
Applebuck
talk.
season
That's
did it
the
better.
person going first. Nobody gets to steal your stuff.
See, you're learning.
Kiss me.
Okay,
Oh.
Jeez.
Get her.
we kissed. Anyway,
That is a good
anyway,
yeah,
back to
culture.
I guess. Well, since we're on negative cartoons, you're up.
Am I? Oh boy, I got a lot to say.
Oh boy.
Stubbornness. I hate it. I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a part of us,
Hello,
and
kettle, me pot.
sometimes we need to get bonked on the head and say, hey, knock it off. You're being stubborn. You've been stupid. Knock it off. I can understand why Rutherford was the way he was, why he was so stubborn. But at the same time, you are the leader of a society in the mountains. You have people who are willing to... Sorry, yaks, you know what I mean. Who are willing to follow you and are willing to do whatever you say. You've cultivated a nice little society up in Yakistan. You have a tradition. That's good. You have a society that has, like, pretty much everything nailed down. You got, that's the place where we do this, place where we do that, place where we do this. Very simple. But in a crisis situation, for the love of God, focus on what is important. Focus on not just you. It doesn't matter if your pride gets thrown out the freaking window. Already it is, because you're not willing to do anything. It's... How would you feel if everybody just died? And, like, Pinkie and you were the only two left, Rutherford. How would that feel? That'd be pretty freaking stupid. Your people are dead because, no, I don't want to. Okay, well, all right. This makes things very interesting, sir. Thank you very much. You're a stupendous leader. You're clearly better than some of our leaders right now. Anyway,
Thanks for stealing my point.
That's everybody's point, Golden. Let's be real.
it's everybody here.
I have a different one, but I'll get to mine later.
Everybody here,
Okay.
when the Yaks first showed up, hated them, and now I can understand that they're slowly being won over. That's good. Rutherford is still an idiot, a stubborn idiot. And
In other
needs-
news, the sky is blue.
Exactly.
In other news,
Well,
water is
it's
wet.
just like how in the hay has this society lasted as long as it did is beyond me. Because I assure you, that's probably not the first time they've had an avalanche.
Also, on a
Twice.
smaller nitpicky note, how did Pinkie not freeze to death up there?
That
It's
is a-
Pinkie, don't question it.
I'm sorry, are any of you experienced with going up to the tippy top of mountains where it's probably almost sub-zero weather and Pinkie doesn't need anything, not even a hat,
Okay.
a scarf, nothing? Seriously?
Cartoons?
I
Cartoons,
call
I have a theory. Hang on, I have a theory of that. I think Pinkie has a heater in her tail. That probably explains it why. Again, Pinkie has hammer space in her mane and tail.
So does Spike.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
Anyway, that's my point. Rutherford is a stupid idiot. And just pass it back.
Well, we should put him on the list then.
Oh, yeah, you know what? When I get my list, Rutherford, you're gonna be the first one on there. Freaking idiot. Anyway, so who was before me?
Pinkie Roger.
Ninja was.
That would be me. Now, mine might be slightly controversial. Side things, I thought it was kind of boring, repetitive, and I didn't find Pinkie that funny. But I would argue that ToonKritic has it backwards, and that this Pinkie is worse than the Pinkie in Rock Solid Friendship. And that is because in
No,
that
hear him out, hear him out.
episode... Yeah, in that, I'll hear me out. In that episode, you had a real connection where Pinkie went through an interesting arc connected to her core character values, where she realized she was wrong and went to solve it in funny and creative ways. While in this episode, it might as well have been Twilight. You know, she went through the exact logical process, and I didn't feel like that was Pinkie. It might as well have been Glimmer or, you know, Rainbow Dash or something like that. I felt like... I'm not going to say, oh, she was too smart, but I honestly didn't connect that with Pinkie, like the stuff that she did. Like, aside from the normal stuff that we see, like adhering to yak culture, like has been previously established. I felt like I don't know. I felt like it was this is the least Pinkie I've ever seen. Pinkie, it's the most boring as well. She didn't make me laugh at all. I don't know. I just didn't like Pinkie this episode. I felt like she solved the issue way too quickly. I don't know, and when your Pinkie's off in a Pinkie Pie episode, and the yaks were funny. Don't get me wrong, the yaks stole the show from Pinkie Pie, and from a Pinkie Pie episode, that's abnormal. That is horrendous. What are you doing? But
I disagree on that, really, because
I guess that's my negative, and I guess I pass it back to Golden.
All right. Well, apparently this is kind of echoing off of what everybody else said about Prince Ruth. I'm just going to call him that not just because he's a ruthless dipshit, but it's also because
there goes the PG rating.
Okay, Zach, forget the PG rating. This has always been an R-rated stream. We're always going to cut.
I try to keep it PG for little kiddos that are watching this, okay?
Their fault for watching it.
That's...
What? So,
okay.
No.
Okay, alright, go ahead.
But no, I'm going to call him Prince Ruth because, first of all, he's a ruthless idiot. Second of all, his name is hard to remember. Okay, he's a ruthless asshole. Just call him Prince Ruth. I'm just going to call him that. So anyway, this character ranks up there with Diamond Tiara and Spitfire as my most hated characters in the show, including Angel Bunny, because of the same things of what was mentioned from what Cartoon said. What could have made this a lot better is if at the very end of the episode, Ruth would have acknowledged that. Instead, he just rewards Pinkie Pie with a helmet. If he'd said something like, Prince Ruth was wrong, Yak learned to accept help, something like that, I would have been fine with it, but it wasn't. And some could argue that would have been the same formula of what Applebuck's season was, but at least it would have been more functional. And I'm going to deliver why Applebuck's season worked better, because when AJ was refusing help, she was injuring herself as well as injuring upon others. Whereas this one, Ruth, I'm sorry for trying to get the name right. Ruth was not taking any impact while everybody else was suffering at his expense. And I just think that's not as in depth as the situation that happened at Applebuck's season.
He kind of was relying more on himself than anyone else.
Yeah, and you got to get that stick of pride out of your ass. I mean, this makes AJ look more responsible.
Exactly.
You know what? I agree with you, and I respect what you said there entirely. I do feel like he knew what was going on. He wasn't oblivious to it. He just really, culturally could not ask for help. Because that's not how yaks do things, man.
Well, you're going to have to change your game because you're going to risk causing your civilians to starve to death, freeze to death, and go through different kinds of, unfortunate circumstances if you don't get your act together.
Well, there's something that I...
go ahead.
This would go into another negative that I don't want to take, so I'll let someone else slide on.
Okay. So, who went before me?
It was
EG.
me.
I think we
Okay, yeah, I pass it back to you.
Okay. Yeah, the episode it dragged on quite a long while when after the avalanche started. Yeah, majority of I can tell that everybody else has the same the same issue of the yaks. Yes, they were stubborn, and in fact yaks are represented to be very prideful animals, but they can still be they have a lot of self-doubt, and they have understanding a higher purpose through also self-doubt and lack of control over emotions. I mean, that's how they're represented. They have stubborn determination, but I can kind of see they were going it up to 11 with Ruth as well. And yeah, I do agree with what Fox said that Ruth was caring more about himself of his village other than the rest of the rest of the other yaks, including the young children yaks, were suffering from hunger.
Yeah, that was kind of hard for me to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt so bad for them. Like, I was like, okay, I think this has gone too far, because I already seen too many stories of cultural villages who refuse help from outsiders because it's in their cultural blood. Like, Pocahontas was one of them. I think Avatar was one of them as well. These story aspects have been repeated for far too long, like it's a cliche. And I preferred seeing something like the yaks could at least remember, and like sharing backstory for once. Like, I don't just want to see them being stubborn all the time. I would have preferred the yaks just being more generous and learning what they had in their past moments. Because if they're gonna keep being stubborn, then that's the issue. And yeah, that was, including the ending, the main six just came in to help. That was it. And I do agree with I think, what was it, Sega who said this? Yeah, Applebuck season with yaks. That's how I would put it in, basically.
Yeah,
it is Applebuck season, but with the yaks. Makes Applejack even a better character.
I want to point something out. I kind of just realized that I did some research on actual real yaks, like the yaks that live in Russia, and yeah, they deal with some severely harsh winters up there. I mean, my God, I don't even know how any human can live out there, let alone animals. But they are extremely tough prey animals. They deal with some of the harshest winters known to man. But even they will lose their young if the mothers don't have enough to eat and cannot produce milk, and so I don't know, I'm just kind of comparing the cartoon to actual live animals, and I guess it's like, yaks are tough. They are extremely tough, and they can survive through probably almost anything, but their young cannot. Their young are extremely vulnerable when they're first born, and the first few months will determine whether they live or die. So to see the cartoon and see the kids of the yaks suffering from lack of food was just really hard to watch.
Think of the children.
Think of the food. Think of the children. Think of the calves.
Think of the young yaks. I don't know what's the term for younger yaks, but yeah.
Calves.
Calves. Okay.
Calves.
Blissy.
But lastly, when the main six showed up, they made the yaks helpless. Like, they almost didn't learn nothing.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
kind of made them
learn anything.
It made the moral really, really, really weak.
Blissy, do you know horses poop?
What?
Do you know horses poop? I read it while yeah, that is an inconsistency with the show. That is my negative. Horses don't poop.
Yes. But I will say this: the episode was better than Party Pooped, in my opinion.
Understatement.
Oh crap! Then I guess I'll pass it to Voice to see what he has to say.
All right. Well, seeing how I'm the only one that actually liked this episode.
I don't hate the episode.
No, actually, I had no problem with the episode at all. I just think it was a bit weak.
All right, Voice, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, there is one thing. One thing I did not like. What was Gummy thinking about in 20 million questions? I need to know.
This is true. The most unanswered question of our
I did
time.
like Gummy in this episode.
Now,
No, I got a new negative for you.
but yeah, that's, honestly that's my one negative. I actually really enjoyed this one. Okay, so Bliss, you're up.
Okay. I'm actually a little disappointed with the lore. I was kind of expecting bigger. Instead, it looked like a really tiny village. Extremely tiny. I mean, you call yourself a prince. Okay, you're the prince of a tribe. or you're the prince of a kingdom. That was confusing. Okay, calling yourself the prince of Trump. All right. It's tiny. You are a very tiny
It
little
is.
slave.
You would sit right home, Blissey.
Then they have
You know what I was really hoping for? I was kind of hoping for not just.
than a freaking mule.
I was really
Okay,
hoping not
okay.
just for the prince to have some character development. I was hoping to see maybe a little bit more.
Hey, Bliss, you're fading in and out. Also, whoever is clicking with their mouse.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Am I fine now?
Yes.
Much better.
All right. So, I was kind of hoping to see some more characters, like maybe a strong. I mean, I know we saw some females in there, but they barely tell them males. I guess I had this assumption that the prince would have a council or like a vizier or a wise yak that would tell them things or help them out, but no, it was just him. They didn't really have I didn't see a real monarch set up, and that kind of bummed me out. It was as Voice and everybody else has said, simple. It was a little too simple for my liking. I'm like, there's not much to work with here. They don't have guards, they don't have a council, they don't have anything. Hell, I don't even think he had a princess. It was just the prince. I'm like, okay.
Well, whatever
Yak
yak mating...
produce asexually.
Yeah, I was about to say, whatever yak mating rituals there are, I don't want to know.
I don't want to know either.
It takes place in yak mating rituals.
Well, if there are any yak mating rituals, they have to do it on like 5 mountain ranges over.
Oh.
Yes, it's yak mating ritual room.
Boy, that gives a whole different way to the term "let me smash." So.
Oh my! You guys are taking my negative and making it gross. Please stop. Jeez Louise, you guys are so mean. Anyway, yeah, I guess this is a lore complaint. I was hoping to see more than just this.
Mm-hmm.
But I know there's been insanity, be grateful for what you get, and I'm happy that the show is taking a little bit of effort, but if you're gonna make the effort to do it, can you be a little bit more creative?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because then I'm gonna end up doing what Boyce just did. Yawn.
Huh?
Like I said earlier, they could do a lot with the yaks. They do have a lot of symbolic features and through by appearance and by behavior. They deserve more than just being stubborn, have a small town, and just be a prince of doing whatever the heck you want.
The Crystal Empire, the Changeling Empire, has more structure and more things to play with than this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, the Changelings are a kingdom that are now reconstructing, so we don't even know what their leadership roles are going to be like, or are they going to have guards, etc., and whatnot. So there's a lot to develop here, or I guess for fanfic writers, there's more to play with.
Mm-hmm.
But now the show's made it canon that, yep, this is the Yak tribe, they have the leader, that's it. Everybody follows the leader. We're following the leader, the leader, the leader.
Exactly.
Following the leader, wherever we may die.
The Indians from Neverland are better than have more character than these.
That's what I wanted that to be. I wanted the Yaks to have like a Native American tribe vibe, because the Native Americans have a structure, they have a leadership and a council.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't, well, if that's the case, it's a good thing we didn't see any yaks working at Las Pegasus. Anyway, so today has been an interesting episode. I think we've made it more interesting than it deserves to be at this point, but that's fine. What?
Oh, okay, we got an episode of Roundtable out of it. Come on.
We did. We always find something fun to work with in these episodes. So, before we end this episode, as per the usual now, we have our Roundtable meme face. So, I'm going to reveal to you guys the winner of last week's episode. So last week's episode was a royal problem. I think we picked a pretty funny one here. Let me drag it up. Ah, there it is. Okay.
I got to refresh. Wait for it.
Oh, wow. That image is way too big. Hang on, let me fix that.
Giggity.
there we go. So the last picture that we gave was for the last episode. So the caption that wins this, by Jedi Padawan Daniel. That moment when you realize this is part 1 of Silverquill's list of demands.
Okay, that one beat me.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, that's good. That's a good one. Who
Good
made
job,
this one again?
Jedi Padawan.
Who made this again?
It's that moment when you realize this is part 1 of Silverquill's list of demands. So congrats to Jedi Padawan Daniel for being this week's winner. Now, for
the
next
meme
week,
king.
for next week, you are going to meme this face. This face right here. I can already tell there's going to be some good winners with this one.
Take a picture now, folks. It'll last longer.
I just love Pinkie's face here. It's just like, what? I can't hear you.
I already have ideas for this. Okay.
All right, so.
I can't hear you. I think there's something in my ears.
Oh, wait. All right, so to participate in these, all you need to do is take this picture, tag me on Twitter with your best subtitle in the picture. Let me just clarify. Put the subtitle in the picture, not in the description of the Twitter thing. In the picture. So tag at ToonKriticY2K on Twitter, put this picture in it, and put hashtag Roundtable meme face. That way I can easily sort through all of these and pick the winner for next week's episode. But there isn't going to be an episode review next week because we finally have cleared up everything for Season 7. At least for now.
For now.
Counting the Australia episodes, but those for later. Next week, next Sunday, 5 p.m. Central, we are interviewing Amy Keating Rogers.
Good luck.
Some of you I know are going to be very excited about that. Kefram will be joining us. Oh yeah, by the way, Kefram's over at Too Many Games as of this recording. So even though we miss
Hi,
her,
keyframe. Glim glam and the zimzam.
Glam at the same time.
yes,
And the many screaming voices of Thespia comes.
y'all can bother her on Twitter if you want. That's up to you guys. But anyway, thank you all for turning out for this episode. Join us next week when we interview Amy Keating Rogers, and then we will get to the Equestria Girls specials. We have not forgotten them. We will be doing them. So, yeah, that takes care of that. Thank you all for turning out, and stay awesome.